Welcome to Hodge, Podge, Australia. Today I am showing you how to make this chocolate lace wraparound for your buttercream cake. You will need a buttercream covered cake, some chocolate and some baking paper. Now, the first thing you need to do is measure out your baking paper. So you want to get enough baking paper out that it's going to wrap around your entire cake. If you would like your chocolate basket to extend over the top of your cake so that you have the ability to place fruit on, as I have, and it's going to hold the fruit onto the top, you can then fold your baking paper down to put a crease where you want the top of your basket to go. Just measuring it to double check and make sure that that's the height you like. Then you can fold the baking paper in half. Because my baking paper is so wide, I can fold it in half, and then once I fold it over I can see that that's the perfect height going up to the crease. So now that I'm happy with my placement, I'm going to put the cake back in the fridge for now while I work on the basket. So using a piping tip that has a rather large hole for what you would expect for piping chocolate, I am going to have my melted chocolate into the piping bag. I forgot to mention the piping bag before. You'll need a piping bag or a Ziploc bag. Ziploc bag may even be a little bit easier, or using a coupler, but you do have to be careful when you're pouring the chocolate into the piping bag that it doesn't just spill straight out of your piping tip. But the reason for the larger tip is because you do still need quite a sturdy base. Once you have that chocolate in your piping bag, it is simply a matter of piping your pattern onto the paper that you have laid out before. So this goes all the way across my bench, you just can't see it. And then coming back to the start, I'm going to do my zigzag swirl pattern in the opposite direction, just on top of the already wet chocolate, all the way across again, so that I have a nice connected piece. It's going to add structure, it's going to hold it all together by having a lot of chocolate on there. Obviously you want it to look lacy, so you've got all those gaps in between, but you do need it to all hold itself together. Once you are happy with your swirl, it is just a matter of standing there and literally watching your chocolate dry. And I mean that. Stand there and watch that dry, because it won't take long at all, and you need to be there at the precise moment to wrap it around the cake. So you need it to be dry enough that it's not just going to mold against your cake when you pull it out of the fridge, but you also need it to be soft enough that it's still going to wrap around without cracking. So just using a little bit of pressure to apply it to the buttercream so that it doesn't just peel straight off again. You can then take the baking paper straight off. It just slides off like butter, or like baking paper off chocolate. And that is how easy it is to do a chocolate lace covering on a buttercream cake. To top off my chocolate lace cake, I am going to decorate it with cherries, because who doesn't love cherries? And they just look really lovely in this chocolate basket. But you can use any fruit that you'd like. It'd be really nice with raspberries and blueberries. Throw on some cream, throw in a whole bunch of chocolate on the top of that. You could add in some extra buttercream or some whipped cream or some ganache, anything you'd like. The world is your oyster, but with that chocolate basket around this cake, it really adds a touch of class to any buttercream cake and is super simple. Thanks for tuning in to us here at Hodge Podge Australia, and we'll see you again real soon.